Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Wildfowl Trust. Today we're going for a virtual tour around. I will be taking you around this lake so you will see what we have here and the work that we do. At the Wildfowl Trust, we have over 70 species of birds, 7 of which are endangered, and we do conservation work with them every single day. Those birds include 5 types of ducks, the scarlet ibis and the blue and gold macaws. With any luck, we'll be seeing quite a few of those today, and I'll be identifying them to you as we walk around. So the Wildfowl Trust has been doing conservation work since 1966. That makes it 55 years as of 2021, and it has allowed us to release over 12,000 birds back into the wild into Trinidad and Tobago, which is really good for us, as well as the environment. So the president of the Wildfowl Trust is Miss Molly Gaskin. She is the same person who would have started it back in 1966, and our vice president is Miss Carolyn Shepard. So we have over 60 acres of land here at the Wildfowl Trust. Right? It encompasses a forest, 2 lakes, and all the gardens and grounds in between, which gives a lot of space for wild animals to roam. Right? Not only our birds, but we also have a host of mammals, including squirrels and mongoose and opossum, or manikou, as locally known in Trinidad. We have reptiles such as various snakes, iguanas, and other lizards. And of course, in the waters, we have over a dozen species of fish, as well as turtles and caiman. So as we walk around today, we'll be looking out for as much different animals as we can see, and we will not forget that we have quite a lot of plants here as well, which you'll be seeing in the footage. Many flowering and fruiting trees, as well as trees for the animals to sleep and nest in. So without further ado, I want to take you all to see the scarlet ibis, which is the national bird of Trinidad. Right? So just follow me over here. So in the enclosure behind me, you can see we have a handful of scarlet ibis. These are all fully grown adult birds. You can tell from their bright red colors and the black tips on the edges of their wings that these are adult birds. Right? The baby scarlet ibis are born completely black, and over time they will change the color of their feathers to become bright red. Now, of course, scarlet ibis are one of the birds that embody "you are what you eat." They do eat the red fiddler crabs, which have a pigment in them that turns them red, called beta carotene. Right? And if the ibis ever stop eating those crabs, they will lose their pigment and become pink or discolored. So ibis have a very specific diet, and it's what they like to eat. In Trinidad and Tobago, they are most commonly found in mangrove swamps. Right? Very few times they will ever be in Tobago, but always in Trinidad you would see them. These birds don't get much bigger than what you're seeing in the image. Right? It's not edited in any way. Those are the actual size of the birds. Right? These birds are highly gregarious, or what means they like to live in large communities. And those communities roughly start at around 10,000 birds, but can go up to anywhere between 30 to 50,000 birds. Right? They are very social. They live well together. Right? And one of the things that makes them at risk or endangered is their slow breeding rate. Scarlet ibis breed very slowly. They only lay between 1 to 3 eggs a year. Right? And of course, we have to make sure that the chicks survive, or the birds have to make sure that the chicks survive. Right? So it's a lot of effort to keep their numbers. These birds are at risk of pollution and deforestation of the mangroves, right? Which are their only natural homes. Right? Scarlet ibis will not live anywhere else. They need that swampy mangrove environment, as well as a lot of crabs that also choose to live in the mangrove environments in order to sustain themselves. Right? At the Wildfowl Trust, we have been breeding them for the past few years, and we release them every single year into the wilds to ensure that the ibis population can continue to be upheld. Apart from doing physical conservation, the Wildfowl Trust also works to assist with the law protecting not only scarlet ibis but other endangered birds to ensure that they have a chance of surviving in the wild, right, and that they are not overhunted, poached, or damaged otherwise. So if you all have any questions about the scarlet ibis, feel free to ask us. We'll be happy to answer them. And for now, let's continue walking and we'll see some more animals. So we're stepping onto a bridge that covers parts of the lake. Right, as we walk off on the left, you will be seeing part of our the shallow side of the lake, which is where a lot of the birds tend to rest. Right, in our waters, we have fish species such as tilapia, cuscrubs, cichlids, freshwater sardines, and of course predatory fish such as the wabine or the wolffish. Over far to where you're seeing the grass over there, there's a lot of ducks standing on their water structures that we put in place for them. Those ducks are black-bellied whistling tree ducks. They are small ducks out in the distance. Right? They have black bellies, which is how they got their name, and bright pink beaks. Right? They're one of the fastest breeding ducks that exist in Trinidad and Tobago. Right? They're, however, very small, as you can see. And what they like to do is live together in groups that allow them to find a lot of food, stay safe from predators, and of course, because they live in a very wet environment, they can also stay together for warmth and protection. So, black-bellied ducks, unlike traditional ducks that you might hear or read about, are whistling ducks, which means they do not quack, right? So a lot of the whistling noises you may be hearing in the background come from those ducks. They are very boisterous and noisy, right? And in the wild, ducks, not only black bellies, but all the others, tend to feed on water insects and vegetation. Water insects including things that might be considered pests, such as mosquitoes. So ducks are very crucial to the environment. And the more of them we have, the safer we as people become. So, that's one of the reasons we try to protect them from being overhunted and overexploited for meat and other reasons. So let's go on to see one of our other more popular birds. Right, they're also very noisy, not as plentiful, but they are very colorful birds. And they're over here on the right. So behind me, you all would be able to see some blue and gold or blue and yellow macaws, right? These birds are some of the largest parrots in the world, right? And they can also live to a fairly old age, usually over 20 years. These birds love eating a lot of fruits, seeds and nuts, as well as palms, which are their favorite foods. Blue and gold macaws not only are nice because of their colors and their natural abilities, they're also birds that can sing, right? They can learn to speak by imitating human speech. They are also very good at social life, right? Both birds take turns taking care of the eggs and the nests, and they will sit on the eggs and take care of the young once they hatch. Right? They're very dedicated parents until, of course, the chicks grow up and eventually fly out of the nest. Right? And a pair stay together for life, which means that as long as they are together, they will never choose other mates. And it's one of the really cool things that you can learn about animals from observing these birds. They are also unfortunately captured often for their feathers, and of course, because they are a type of parrot and they can be entertaining to people, they're captured for pets. right? And for the wildlife trade, which makes them endangered. And that's why we at the Wildfowl Trust are protecting them here to release into the wild. Environmentally speaking, blue and gold macaws start more forest than most other birds, especially in a small tropical island like Trinidad. They eat so many fruits, seeds and nuts that when they go to other places and drop the seeds, you will start getting a lot of forests, such as the ones that we're in now. Right, this is a forested, not mangrove, but swamp type environment, right, as evidenced by the large amount of trees on my left, and on my right over here, there's also a large amount of palm trees. So these palms, right, include the giant Maurice palm, which are all the ones that we're standing under. These Maurice palms have a very nice orangey red fruit on them, and what it does, it's so flavorful, kind of like a guava, that the macaws love to eat them. And once the tree is hollowed out, the birds actually can go inside and nest in them. So it makes it a very nice home and popular area for the macaws to sleep in, find food in, and be safe from other predators in. Because as you can tell, palm trees are not very easy to climb, so they are very, very safe once these trees are around. However, just like the birds, these palms are currently endangered. Right? There's not very many of them in the wild, so we are also working to repopulate these trees, have them in the wild so that once we release macaws, they will also have a nice habitat to live in. Right? So we'll continue. We've been talking about a lot of animals and foods that they like to eat, and here's something that grows very, very popularly in Trinidad. It's called fat pork or cocoa plum. Right? It's a nice pink fruit. Right? It's very, doesn't have a very sweet taste, but it is very, very good for its health benefits. Right? It helps as an anti-diuretic, which means that your kidneys are not going to be under strain if you eat the fruit. Right? That's the long and short of it. And they grow very well in sandy soil. So in a lot of coastal areas, you will see this growing, particularly on the eastern and southern coasts. Right? The name of the place called the Cacas was actually named after these, because in Spanish, cocoa plum is called the caco, which is what you're seeing here. And because of how many trees there were historically when the Spaniards came all the way back in the 1500s, they named it Icacus. So a bit of history and a bit of nature for your consideration. Right. Now at the Wildfowl Trust, depending on the time of year, the environment changes. So as we're entering the rainy season, you're going to see a lot of changes due to the weather. Right? More rains generally means more things are growing. And of course, certain plants bloom only at certain times of year, including plants like these small plants here. Right? These are small versions of what we call the queen of flowers. Right? It grows in 3 colors, pink and white, and we have a purple one that I'll show you all very shortly. Right? So these trees, while they look very small and unassuming, they can be very medicinal. The leaves of them, you can boil them and drink them, and it helps reduce the blood sugar, right? Which of course keeps you safe from diabetes and other health complications, right? The flowers themselves, which are very, very soft and white, are as soft as paper and squishy, right? Makes them very nice if you want to do anything floral wise, right? They are usually used in bouquets, right? And of course, there are some animals that even like to eat them because of how soft they are, right? Namely animals such as iguanas, which, of course, these trees are kind of small, so you probably would not see any right now. But rest assured, they are around, and they camouflage quite well because of their green color. Now, I did say these were small trees, so if you'll follow me right over here to that giant purple tree over there, that is how big a queen of flowers can get. They're towering trees. Right, and once they get that huge, they no longer only have medicinal benefits, but they also have structural benefits. Trees have historically been important to people. It's where we get wood from, right? The Amerindians and other native tribes around the Caribbean use them to make boats, to make huts, right? Of course, we still use wood to make furniture up till today. And like most trees, the Queen of Flowers does have a very high quality wood to use. It's so high quality that it's generally insect resistant naturally as well as weather resistant. Of course, it's growing near to water and nothing happens to the tree. So if you do happen to make furniture out of it, it will also be a bit weatherproof. Right? So we're gonna go up onto our boardwalk right here. As you can tell, right, the Wildfowl Trust caters for not only the youth or people who want to experience nature actively. We also have this boardwalk that allows for differently able persons to access. Right? It's wide enough for a wheelchair, right? And it's gentle enough for crutches or otherwise. And it makes sure that every single person who visits has a chance to experience the entire lake, right? See all the animals and plants and get a full tour with as much information as they want with all their questions answered. So we're going to go up onto the boardwalk right now. It will help us see a lot of things, and of course, I will answer any further questions that you all have. So moving on to more medicinal plants, which the Wildfowl Trust specializes in because we believe there's a lot of medicine to be had in nature, and of course, natural medicine is very good because it was designed for the human body. One plant being this, which is vervine, right? It's a very tall, what people like to call a snake-like plant, right? It has generally purple flowers, but it also exists in pink and red varieties. And the vervine is very important medicinally because you can crush the leaves and the stems and these purple flowers, boil them and drink them, and you get a tea that is helpful with fever and reducing congestion, which is generally one of the major sicknesses that you get if you have the flu or any other illness. So it's important to know medicinal plants because they can not only help you, but they can help the people you care about and the ones that are around you. So over on our left, down to the boardwalk, where it starts extending out into the lake, you can have a bit of lake access. You will be seeing some large ducks, right? These ducks will be much bigger than any of the others you see in Trinidad and Tobago, right? These are wild Muscovy ducks, which are some of the largest ducks that exist in the Caribbean and South America. They can get very heavy, up to 30 pounds or more. And it is for that major reason that people have been hunting them historically, from the Amerindians all the way up to modern day. Right? They are an important source of food. Right? However, due to overhunting and overexploitation, the ducks' numbers in the wild have been greatly reduced. So at the Wildfowl Trust, we do protect these birds and release them into the wild. Now, because they're a lot bigger than the other ducks, they have a higher chance of survival. They can defend themselves fairly well from natural predators. They are very powerful flyers. Even though they look small and unassuming now, these ducks can not only fly from one location inside the Wildfowl Trust to another, they can also fly out of the country and go to other Caribbean islands where they are also found. Right? These ducks are very strong in terms of their beaks and their feet. They do not only live in the water and eat small creatures that live there, they will also come up on land and forage for food, right? Or actively hunt insects that run around in the mud, right? To fulfill their dietary needs, right? These ducks have really dark feathers, but in the black there's also green. So if you ever catch them in the sunlight, it shines, right? A very nice iridescent glow, and there's a white patch on their wings, right? Which when they fully extended, you see a lot of white underneath and of course on top. And it's used for when they're flying to help them camouflage better in between the trees that sometimes they would sleep in. So these ducks live out on the wild or out on the lake at the Wildfowl Trust, right? They nest around, so oftentimes you will see their ducklings when they hatch swimming with the parents across the lake. it's a very nice sight to see. Of course, you have generally anywhere between 7 to 11 ducklings hatching at once, and they'll all stay close together to the parent who takes care of them. Birds, most animals I should say in general, are very dedicated parents. Birds more so than most. You will see a duckling stay very close to the mother, and the mother will fiercely protect it until it's old enough to defend itself and fly away on its own. Right? And it's one of the key reasons that a lot of ducks do tend to survive in the wild, because of that protection and that sense of family. So as we continue, we'll be seeing some more animals, right? And I would like to show you all some more plants as well. Stay around. These flowers and their seeds have been brought over from Guyana by wild birds, and now they grow in our lakes. So the key thing about the lotus is always the flower, which you can see from its bright pink and white petals over here. And this one is fully bloomed and ready to go. Right? You will see birds and insects coming into it to smell it and see it. And that's what most people also see, you know, in drawings, paintings, tattoos, and so on. But there's a bit more to the lotus flower than just the magnificent colors and shape of it. So we must start from the beginning. So lotus seed falls into the water, it's covered by mud, and after a few days of getting sunlight, it starts blooming into either one of these large giant green leaves or into a bud. Right? And these buds are small and closed, and slowly they start to open up. Right? So from being completely closed and unassuming, they turn into a dark pink bud that grows bigger, and you can start to see all the petals there until the petals start to open up, which you will be seeing over on our left. Right? So dark pink petals all in a nice little ball, and soon they bloom and open up into what we see as the lotus flower. Now the lotus flower lives for 7 days, and over those 7 days the flower petals change from pink to white, and once they turn completely white they will fall off, and that is the end of the life of the flower. After which we will be getting the green seed pod or seeds, which are right here, right? And it's a very nice enclosed area, right? You can see all the little seeds right in that spot, right? And once it dries out and turns brown, all these little seeds are going to drop into the water and begin life as new lotus. Now, apart from being just really beautiful and providing a lot of shade in the water, lotus plants are also edible to the creatures that live in the water. They are an important source of food for water animals. They can be eaten at any stage, whether it's the flower itself or the seeds as well as the leaves. And people, traditionally the Amerindians and others, would have also been eating these flowers, and it helps sustain them and be part of a healthy diet. Now, of course, some people would look at the plant and wonder, how is the whole thing edible, or why is it edible? And one of the key reasons is that animals that live in the water, traditionally fish and turtles and some other creatures, may not always be able to come out on land and get food from the trees and other grass like we do. So whatever lives in the water generally tends to be a bit more edible, so that they can have a chance to get all the nutrition that they need. And of course, lotus is an amazing plant that does extremely well in the rain. So the more rain that falls, the more lotus you'll see. And that means even though it's a rainy day, don't worry, you can still come to the Wildfowl Trust and there'll be nice and enjoyable things for you to experience. So at the Wildfowl Trust, of course, we've talked about history, we've talked about nature, right? We've talked about, you know, just a general sense of relaxation being in nature. But there's also, as with everything, a bit of, you know, superstition and culture associated with some plants and animals, of course. So here we have a tree with some very nice peach colored flowers. It's called the lucky seed tree, right? And it's believed that if you find a seed that falls from the green fruit that exists on the tree, that it would, and you keep it on your person, it would bring you good fortune, right? So many times persons would be around and they would find one of the small little seeds that looks like a little bean and put it in their pocket or in their bag and, you know, pray and wish for some good fortune to befall them. Of course, with any superstition, take it with a grain of salt, but who knows, the power of belief might just bring you good luck the next time you come to the Wildfowl Trust. Over to my current left, right, you'll be seeing trees that include a lot of popular fruits in Trinidad, such as grapefruit, mango. We also have limes and other citrus. And most of the fruits that grow here are for the birds and the other animals. They have free reign of anything that they want to eat. Of course, a natural diet is best for a natural creature. So the fruits and other things that are available keep all our birds quite healthy and happy and keep them here inside this environmental conservatory that makes them very safe. So at the Wildfowl Trust, while we have over 70 types of birds and, you know, over a dozen species of fish and all the other things, we have well over 100 different types of trees, and quite a lot of them are either medicinal or fruiting, which means that every single animal that lives here will always have a natural source of food to take care of it. And of course, that's for the animals that tend to eat, you know, vegetarian. But we do have animals here that also tend to get hungry for meat, such as our caimans. We have hawks that live on site, falcons as well. Owls live in the forested areas. And we also have mammals that would eat meat, such as the mongoose. Of course, it can be a terror to some birds, but we believe that leaving nature to sort out itself works best. So, as we approach one of our final aviaries, right, there will be a different type of duck that lives inside there. It's called the white-faced whistling duck, which is one of the other types of ducks that we take care of at the Wildfowl Trust. Right? These are very small, shy birds. Right? They generally live huddled together in a small group. And their key feature, as their name implies, is their white face. Right? Which, as you walk up closer and you take a look off to the side, you might probably get a glimpse of them huddled together in the corner. They are whistling ducks as well, right? So they do not quack, right? They look after each other. They're very community-based. And unlike other ducks, it's very rare that you'll find them out in deep water. These are small ducks, so deep water might not be the safest environment for them. They do not want to get eaten. So they stay in shallow, muddy water where they can root around for worms, insects, and again, mosquitoes, right? One of their preferred foods, which keeps not only the environment healthy and safe, but also us as people healthy and safe. And at the Wildfowl Trust, it's something that we continuously try to put forward. You know, the more you know about the wild, the more you would be interested in protecting and preserving the environment. And there's so much more to learn, so I invite any one of you all listening out there to come visit us, right? And of course, if you have any questions at all, feel free to ask on this virtual tour. You can also feel free to email or contact us at any given time. We'll always be ready to answer your question. And to close off my speech today, we'll finish with the Trust motto: to know is to love, and to love is to protect. Thank you all very much for coming to the Wildfowl Trust.
Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So this video is actually going to be more like a vlog because I'm going to take you all on a little journey with me to Basta Hall. That's in the vicinity of Couva, Tabaquite area here in Trinidad.
That looks sweet with the tree. That looks really sweet.
So on my way to Basta Hall, I stop and take a little water break and I happen to notice the view ahead of me. Y'all, this view was so delightful.
Just God doing.
I've never seen anything like it before.
Amazing. What's that again?
I know it. But watch that view with them clouds.
That white thing. This ain't even a steep hill.
I was obviously a bit intimidated with the cars passing up and down. But yeah, look at this view.
Nah, sorry to disappoint all them, but
Nah, we have an next hill for you. No cars. A couple of dogs, but no cars.
wonderful. I can't really do.
Okay, so now I'm actually pushing the bike up the hill because it was a very steep hill. And I just decided to take my time until eventually I got the hang of it.
Watch that.
Sweet like sugar.
I don't know if y'all can see, but that's actually cows in that field. It's from a far distance.
Die or nothing. I'll conquer hills on the side.
This girl walking up and
And
down
down
the
the
hill.
hill.
She walked them up to the top of the hill, then walked them down again.
So I'm about to start painting this beautiful image. As you can see here, I've already started to block in those beautiful colors together. I used a bit of ultramarine blue and a bit of purples and right here I started using a blend, a mixture of sap green and burnt sienna. Alright, so it took me about 3 to 4 hours from start to finish, which was way longer than I actually anticipated. I wanted it to be only an hour, but I used oil instead of acrylics, which would have taken me a lot less time. But either way, it still turned out great and I had mad fun with it. So I know y'all can actually see it because this is going pretty fast, but I used hairpins to make those detailed brush strokes in the grass, which I thought was pretty innovative. What I really enjoyed most about this painting is the fact that the reference actually came from my own little adventure, which to me makes this piece very unique. And y'all can definitely look forward to some more adventures and speed paintings from me in the near future. So I was just basically getting those definition going in the clouds, adding a bit of titanium white and more ultramarine blues. Timing can be more perfect for me because I bought some brushes and mini canvases, about 8 by 10, just the day before, and I was so excited to finally make use of them. And I really love when those pinks and purples started to come in the clouds. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'm not really used to doing landscapes, but I really enjoyed how this one came out. This piece will be for sale as well as print, so if anyone is interested in purchasing and supporting, please comment below and I'll be sure to get in touch with you, alright? Like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next adventure. Mwah!